Hello and good morning. Let's take a look here. Well, what I want you to do is to draw your line and circle your variable. I want everyone to do that. So let's take a look. And by the way, this is week 7-3. I want name, date, and period. Today is the 21st of 24. Okay, so let's take a look at this first one. Draw your line, circle your variable. You don't want to get rid of the 6 because it's not on the side with the variable. These two are. Remember, the number with the variable is last. Write that down. Number with variable is last. I want to see that on your paper. So you're going to get rid of the 2 by subtracting 2, and you're going to get 4. You're dividing by 4, so the opposite is multiplying by 4, so you get x equals 16. Any questions on that one? Next one, draw your line, circle your variable. Since the whole thing is divided by 4, we're going to do this one a little differently. We're going to first get rid of that 4 by multiplying by 4. When you multiply by 4, you get 24 is equal to x plus 2. And now you subtract 2 from both sides and get 22 is equal to x, and you're done. You could plug it in if you want to see if it's right. This one right here, draw a line. Circle your variable. You want to get rid of these two. The number with the variable is last, so you want to add 10. When you add 10, you get 4. The opposite of dividing by 2 is multiplying by 2. So n is equal to 8. This one right here, draw your line. You got two variables here, so you got to combine them. So that's going to give you, this is a plus. Negative 5 plus 1 is going to be a negative 4 plus 3. This is called a two-step equation. So circle your variable. You want to get rid of the 3 first. By subtracting 3, you get 0. Then you want to divide by negative 4. And on your calculator, 0 divided by anything is going to be 0. And there it is. Let's go to the harder one here. I'll put a star by it. You're going to have to distribute that negative in 3. So let's work it. So negative 10n. Negative times a positive, that's one negative, so it's going to be a negative 24. A negative times a positive is going to be a negative 24n. And then this one is going to be a negative 6n plus 24. Draw a line. Here you have some n's on the same side, so you got to add those up. That's going to give you a negative 34n minus 24 equals negative 6n plus 24. Now, which one's smaller? Well, this one is more negative. It's bigger negative, so that's smaller. So we're going to add 34n to both sides. When you do that, you get this. Now, here you have more positives, so I think that's going to be a positive 28n. You can use your calculator to verify that. Now it becomes a two-step equation. So you're going to subtract 24. That gives you a negative 48. This cancels. And now you divide by 28, and whatever you get your answer. See, this is one negative, so your answer is going to be a negative something, whatever that is. So you take your calculator, and you take 48. Now this one's going to look like one you have on your paper today, but it's not. So 48, I changed it to a minus. Divided by 28, and I get 1.7, negative 1.7. There it is. Today you have a worksheet, and if you can't be with us, or there's not any worksheets in that folder, which I doubt it, but anyway, here they are. You can always copy them down and label it worksheet B. Make sure you draw a line and show work. Okay? So I'm going to write this down. Draw a line circle variable, and then solve it. Okay? I want to see that on each one. You might say, well, what do you mean? Well, here you're going to draw your line. 4n minus 2n is going to give you 2n. And then you're going to divide by 2. And you get n equals 2. So I want to see the work. All right? Let's turn our attention now to college algebra. Okay? So to do college algebra, let's work these right here. All right, so yesterday we did the method of substitution. And by the way, I want name, date, and period. Today is the 21st of 24. Okay? And put week 7-3. All right, here we go. This one says solve by substitution. Well, let's take a look. To solve this one by substitution, I would go after the y because it's by itself and it's positive. I would move the 2x to the other side. It's going to change from a plus to a minus. So now you're going to get y equals a negative 2x plus 20, just like that. Circle this. This becomes your substitute. So we're going to substitute for the y. So come on over here and scratch out the y. So you're going to get 6x minus 5 times the substitute equals 20. Now, let's try to put the substitute in there. Let's see if I have a pencil. The substitute is negative 2x plus 20. Okay? So now that we have the substitute in there, we can go ahead and try to work this one out. Now to work this one out, and before I do that, let me just verify my work. That becomes a negative. That's what I have, and I substituted here. Now, if you have two negatives, well, that becomes a positive. So you're going to get 6x plus 10x, right? Negative times a negative. And then here, a negative times a positive, that's only one negative. So that's going to be a negative, and 5 times 2 is 10, so I guess that's 100. Any questions so far? All right, at this point, you're going to combine like terms. So I guess you're going to get 16x minus 100 equals 20. Then you're going to, two-step equation here. You're going to add 100, so plus 100 here, plus 100 here, this cancels. So you get 16x equals 120. You're going to divide by 16, and I don't know if it goes evenly. Let's try it. So 120 divided by 16. I get 7.5. So x equals 7.5. Let me verify that again. Okay, I get 7.5. At this point, you want to go ahead and figure out your y. So 7.5 goes here, and you're going to substitute right here. Okay? Now let me see here. So you're going to substitute. So you're going to get y equals negative 2x plus 20. Now since I got a decimal here, it makes me kind of think that maybe I need to check it again, okay? So it doesn't mean it's wrong, it just means double check it. So let me look at my problem here. I moved the 2x over, I got a negative, okay? I substituted for the y, which is right here. That gives me a positive 10, and that's what that is, 5 times 2, 2 negatives. This gives me a negative 100, so I don't see anything wrong there. And then 10x plus 6x is going to give me 16x, so I got that. I added 100. I don't see anything wrong with this one. So now you're going to do 2 times 7.5. 2 times 7 is 14, so I guess that's going to be a negative 15. Try it on your calculator. Plus 20. So 20 minus 15 is going to give me 5, and that's going to be my answer right there. Okay? All right, well, let's go on. This one right here says draw 3 answers here. Well, when you draw 3 answers, you got to figure out what's going on here. So what do I mean by that? Well, you can have it where they're going to intersect at a point. Okay, so if they intersect at a point, it would look like this. And that would be one solution. You could have it where the lines are parallel and there's no solution. They don't intersect. This would be inconsistent. And then you could have it where they overlap. Okay? So this would be infinite number of solutions. Those are the three possibilities. All right, let's move on. Today's work, we're dealing with elimination. So copy this down on your white paper here. All right, so what is elimination? Let's define what that is. So I have it right here, and I want you to write down this definition. So just copy that definition right here. Elimination method for solving systems of equations is by making one variable cancel. Write that down. You're going to eliminate one of the variables. Okay? All right, let's go back to this front side. The topic for today. So if someone says, what are you doing in class? And you're going to say, elimination method. Okay? All right, so let's take a look at these. Step number one is you line up your x's and your y's. Well, if you look at this one, your x's are already lined up and your y's are already lined up. Okay? And then you got to make something cancel. So if you look here, the negative 4x and the plus 4x already cancels. So knock that out. 8 minus 2 is going to give you 6y. This is going to be a negative 36, I think it is. And then you're going to divide by 6. And when you do that, you get y equals a negative 6. And that's what your y is. So you're going to put a negative 6 here. Now you got to get your x. To get your x, you choose whichever equation you like. I guess it really doesn't matter, but I kind of like the second one. So I'm going to say 4x plus 8y equals negative 24, and then I'm going to substitute this in place of that y. So scratch it out. So I'm going to get 6 times 8 is 48, so that's a negative 48 equals negative 24. Here I'm going to add 48. It's a two-step equation, and when I add 48, I get 4x is equal to whatever that is, and I guess that's 24. When I divide by 4, I get x equals 6, and I put a 6 here. And if I wanted to, I could plug it back into the equations and see if it works. See if it gives me a negative 12 and see if it gives me a negative 24. Remember, it's got to work in both equations, not just one. Let's try this next one. Copy this down. All right, so let's talk about it. Well, nothing cancels, but everything's lined up. What we want to do is make one of these negative. If this was a negative, these would cancel. So the way you do that is you multiply this whole thing by a negative. And when you multiply, this becomes a negative, that becomes a negative, and this one becomes a negative. Scratch that out. So here your y's cancel by the method of elimination, which again is today's topic. Yesterday we did substitution. Today we're doing elimination. So this right here gives me 1x, right? 8 minus 7. And this right here is going to give me 6, I guess it is, positive 6. So x is 6. Now, to figure out your y value, you get to pick either equation. Now, since I tampered with this first one, I'm going to use the second one because I didn't mess with it. So I get that right there. I'm going to substitute from my x right here. So scratch that out. 6 times 8 is going to give me 48 plus 2y is equal to 30. Now I'm going to subtract 48. And when I subtract 48, I get 2y is equal to a negative 18 or something like that. I believe it is. You're going to divide by 2, and you're going to get a negative 9. And that gives you elimination method. Let's try one more. This one right here, and I'm just going to show you how to do it. So look up here and watch. I like this one right here. I mean, you could do a lot of things, but here, if this was a 15, then I would have a plus 15 and a negative 15. So how could I make that a 15? Well, you'd have to multiply this whole thing by 3. If you multiply by 3, this becomes negative 3x. This becomes 3 times 5 is 15. And then 3 times this is going to be a negative 39. Okay? And then scratch that out. And then this cancels. And that's going to give you a negative 7x. And that's going to give you a negative whatever it is. A negative 56, I guess it is. Okay? That's how you do that one. There's one more I want to show you before I get you started on your work. This one right here might be the hardest one. But before I do that, flip that white sheet over and work these two problems here. Okay? When you're done, I'm going to have you talk to your neighbor for 2 minutes, make any corrections you have to, and then I'm going to pick this up at the end of the period. So before you leave, you're going to pass these up. Make sure your name is on that white sheet of paper. All right, let's keep moving. This one right here is the star problem. The star problem. And the reason why I say that is because you got to do a couple of things here. See this? 2 and 7. If I take 2 times 7, I get 14. So what I'm going to do is try to make this a 14. See how 1's already a minus and 1's a plus? That's a good thing. So I'm going to multiply this one by 7, and I'm going to multiply this one by 2. When I do that, I'm going to get a negative 14 here, and I'm going to get a positive 14 here. And what's going to happen is these cancel out. So what I'm trying to tell you is, if nothing cancels out, you got to make something cancel out. And that's the way you do that. Okay? So you got to look at it and see what's going to work. In conclusion, for today, we did the elimination method. All right? And that's pretty much it. So today you do have a worksheet. Your worksheet looks like this. If you can't be with us and you're home or you don't have the worksheet, you can go back to the video and copy it down. Okay, that's pretty much it for today. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll walk around. Have a good morning. I'll see you in class.